Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Monday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. I wanted to start out the program uh, in a form of an apology for yesterday's post game show, with an explanation as to why um, I wasn't more enthusiastic about the Browns' victory and why I was as frustrated with the situation of social media and being suspended from X for something that I said that was nothing at all. Uh, this is not easy to talk about, but I think I owe my audience an explanation. The last couple of days have been very, very difficult days. And as we speak right now, my wife is taking off in an airplane off the ground here in Florida to be with her family in Oklahoma. And in the last couple of days, we have learned details about my wife's sister's child, who is in an ICU unit and is we don't know exactly what the situation is, but is on life support. And it breaks my heart. Woman is 50 years old and too young for all of this stuff. And I could not be happy about a football game uh, when there are more important things to deal with. And on top of that, my vitriol and anger directed toward X and social media in general were provoked by what I felt was a ridiculous suspension. But on top of everything else, it just made doing the program less desirable at that moment for me. And I got a little upset and I said some things, and I don't usually get angry and be unable to shake it. I usually get angry as part of a caricature of the host of this program. This was personal, and I want to apologize to viewers about that. I'm going to bring Stephen in here. Hi, Stephen. How are you?
Hey, Moo, love you, brother.
Yeah, thank you. It's life takes different turns, and we don't control what those turns are. And when you find out something like that, I think that that's kind of what so it affects me in a way that I feel a great feeling of injustice in so many different ways. And I, you hope, you pray, you do whatever you can do to try to wish for the best. But when somebody is on life support and is not breathing on their own and has organ failure, it is a very serious business. And if I wasn't doing this show, I might be just laying in my bed crying right now, quite honestly, because I see how this affects my wife, and it's just a hard situation. So usually, if I get angry, I'm getting angry in a funny way. Yesterday, it was not in a funny way, and I wanted to
Yeah.
explain to the audience why I came off the way I did. It's not that I didn't enjoy a Browns victory. It's just that I have, I guess you could say, a pecking order of sorts, and there are things that are far more important to me than this podcast and Cleveland Browns football and Cleveland Cavaliers basketball. But enough said about that. We'll continue on and trudge on with the program. Uh,
Well,
the
Moo,
Yeah,
just kind of piggybacking, and I'll let you continue.
sure.
I lost a dear friend of mine just earlier, about 2 or 3 hours ago.
Oh my.
He had complications to COVID. He had that new flu strand that came out,
Oh
and
man.
he's been in and out of the hospital. He's a famous YouTuber, Simus 1974. Want to give him a shout out. So I just wanted to say I know the feeling. Because earlier I was just bawling, had my eyes out when I heard the news. So I can
It's
imagine what it's like to lose a loved one, you know?
I'll be real honest, and I don't want this to become a pity party because that's not the point at all. And I'm going to shake this off in about 2 minutes. the The bottom line is that when you get to be a certain age, you start noticing things and looking at things through different eyes. And I've turned 68 years old last year, and stuff that I read hits harder because people who were a part of my life are passing away. And not necessarily, well, I had a very good friend who passed away Christmas last year, uh, a friend of over 20 years. That was hard. But in another sense, when you start looking at things like the musicians who passed away in 2025, and I knew these some of these people. These are people that I met in my work, and there are people who you know uh, artists whose records were part of my record collection when I was in college. And I feel like there's something catching up to me. And it's not a good thing. And it's not healthy to think that way. But for a lot of people who watch this program, they'll understand our demographic is a little bit older. Younger people live your lives, and because you've got a long way to go, God willing. But as you get older, you start seeing a lot of these things surround you, and the familiarity of people, it hurts. And and every day, the other day, it was Chris Rea, who was one of my favorite musicians from Great Britain, passed away. And before that, it was Mark Volman, who was the harmony singer and co-conspirator with Howard Kaylan from the Turtles and Flo and Eddie, who I knew personally. uh, these things hurt. And because when something is a part of your life, and it is no different than the how I felt watching Nick Chubb get injured needlessly by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and some of the vitriol and anger that came out of me after that happened. You feel like there are things that, and I've never met Nick Chubb in my life, but you feel like, hey, you've been watching this person for a long time. And so it is with entertainers and musicians and all of that. So, again, today I can be a little bit more clear headed about the Browns' victory over the Steelers, and to at least to get people to understand that, yes, of course, I'm happy that the Browns beat the Steelers. I mean, if I had a wish, it wouldn't be the top wish, obviously, on my wish list, but it is something that I have a very, very hard time with the way the Steeler organization is run. I have a real problem with Mike Tomlin. I have a problem with what he asks of his players to do, the filth of that organization. It's a dangerous sport, football, and there are people who play it right and are really great at it. We have a young fella, Carson Schwezinger, who's got a bright future ahead of him, and he doesn't hit people late. He doesn't take cheap shots. He just leads the fucking league in tackles, that for rookies. That's what he does. He is a heat-seeking missile who gets to where the ball is. And, those are the kinds of things that I respect. And you put on top of that the arrogance of Aaron Rodgers that is really nauseating to me. There are Pittsburgh Steelers who do not bother me, who were great players, but so many of them, starting with Jack Lambert, all the way back into the 70s, were just cheap shot artists. And I just can't abide by that. Anytime we beat the Steelers, it's a good win. And people will question, well, geez, it was only a 13-6 win. Well, I'd rather be the 13 than be the 6. I mean, I don't
Well,
need,
of course.
you don't need to be a mathematician to figure that out. And the real question you got to ask yourself is, the Steelers had their starting quarterback in, and a lot of their players, they didn't have their best wide receiver, but they were in a situation where they had every reason to win that football game, and they sucked a big dick. That's what it amounts to. They really played like shit, and they became over, no matter what the liar Mike Tomlin says, just like the liar Kevin Stefanski. I don't like it when people don't tell the truth. And we'll get into Stefanski's transcript of his press conference today, in which he does more of that disingenuous crap. I don't expect him to answer the press's questions directly, but this vagueness to everything, what he reminds me of now is a guy who's just desperately not saying the wrong thing so we can get a job after the end of the season. That's honestly what I think he's doing and why he's doing it. But Tomlin put all of his emotion into saying that the sack record for Myles Garrett had nothing to do with the way that the Steelers played, although I watched with my own eyes. They chipped him on every play, and on a couple of plays actually had 3 players to stop him from getting around the corner to get to Aaron Rodgers. And I think they were way over focalized. I think at the end of the game, you saw that they were getting the ball downfield. Part of that was, a loose zone that the Browns were playing. But had they tried something earlier, maybe they would have had more success. It was Shedeur who made the big play early to get the touchdown to Fannin. And then Fannin, who is our DK Metcalf. I mean, I'm not going to compare the players as far as their personal abilities, but their importance to their team, yes. An 800-yard receiver in Kevin Stefanski's offense, that for a rookie who's a tight end, pretty damn good, especially when he's played with 3 different quarterbacks and didn't really play a whole hell of a lot in the beginning of the year, so that Hopalong Njoku could go out there and get injured every week. Fannin has been tremendous. He made a great catch, and that got us on the board early, and that score is the thing that held us together until the end of the game. From his front, Mike Tomlin is just a fool. He's a person who, and I understand that with head coaching comes a certain rarefied air. I mean, to be a head coach in the NFL, you're one of 32 guys who can say that. And of the people who are looking for jobs, a few of them had jobs and lost them, and they're looking to get back in the door. It's not, but if you start taking yourself too damn seriously, like Tomlin does, he makes it sound like his way is the only way to do things. And the Cleveland Browns are 4-13, and that is not a good season, and anyone would tell you that. But the Pittsburgh Steelers had an opportunity to make the playoffs. They had an opportunity to get the Ravens out of the equation completely, and they were doing it against a demoralized team who, quite honestly, just the rancor, that's an SAT word for emotion and anger that the Browns hold for the entire Steelers team and organization based on past history, they came out and played hard. The Browns did not give an inch to the Steelers. And the Steelers weren't prepared for that energy level. They thought they were going to steamroller us, like the last couple of teams have just totally steamrolled the Browns. And that's on Tomlin. He isn't going to say that and say that's on me, because nothing's on him. His team wasn't ready to play. They didn't come out ready to play in a stadium that was half their fans. They didn't get ready to play. They acted as if they were absolutely shocked that there was wind blowing in the stadium in Cleveland. it was bizarre to say the least. And they didn't look at all like a team that was going to close out the Browns season just like that and push themselves into the playoffs. So, and yes, they did not want to give up TJ Watt's shared record. It's really that simple. That's the way a Neanderthal thinks. And Tomlin with his, he's a Neanderthal. He's a dummy. He's a guy who does not have much in the way of raw intelligence. He only has brute force. And
So,
hi, Bronk. How you doing? I just want to say hi to Bronk.
Yeah.
Just can't talk very much today. I got a cold, and I think I was laughing too much yesterday. But, I'm not gonna say much today.
All right, go ahead, Stephen.
So not only did Pittsburgh lose to the Browns, but they only were able to put up 6. It's not like it was 27-20. And I believe the Browns have won the last 3 years at home against Pittsburgh.
Yes.
So they have a streak. So this isn't a one-time occurrence.
And you have to look at the previous 3 games in which, they were 3-0 and they did a whole lot better, and they started hyping up Aaron Rodgers again. Aaron Rodgers is 42 years old. He's afraid to hold on to the ball. He has no ability to run. He gets rid of the ball. Do you know that his time was 2.3 seconds that he got the ball out? I mean, Dylan Gabriel was impressed. I mean, 2.3 seconds. But the problem with that is nobody has a chance to get downfield. And good old Aaron had a 4.7 average yard per completion. And that was with the 2 bigger passes in the fourth quarter. You can imagine what his average was prior to that. It would have been in the 3s or the 2s. He was going back and just chucking the ball. And because he knew that his offensive line wasn't good enough to stop Myles Garrett unless they had 2 or 3 men on him. But what they didn't realize is, I don't know why they would throw the ball to Denzel Ward at the end of the game. I cannot tell you that. Going after him 3 times in a row, that is the quintessential Mike Tomlin. He's a guy, he's the Jake Paul of the NFL. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna go out there against the heavyweight. I'm gonna go out there and I gotta beat him. I'm gonna surprise everybody. And the more he talks, it's like you listen to that nonsense. It's like, I think I'm gonna hurt him because life is like a box of chocolates. It's like, what, your brain scrambled? That's a chance to finish off not just your biggest rival, but to get yourself into the playoffs. And you designed 3 plays in a row to go at Denzel Ward, who's a Pro Bowl guy, and everybody knows he's a Pro Bowl guy. You're telling me that all the other guys who were injured, they tried Jenkins and throwing the ball to Scantling over and over again, and Jenkins was up to stopping them. Are you telling me that there wasn't anyone else to throw the ball to? You threw a Hail Mary from the 7-yard line? Is that what you're telling me? You threw the ball up in the air and figured, well, he's going to out-jump him. And then your fan base, and you take the dick out of your mouth and you say, well, that was pass interference. And say, I don't want to hear this from fucking Pittsburgh fans. The Pittsburgh Steelers ran the football down the Browns' throat in the first half of that game, and they didn't score shit. They only got field goals. They couldn't get into the end zone.
Yeah.
They only rushed for 58 yards in the second half. In fact, they were comatose in the second half, with the exception of that final last-second gasp. And the whole thing is, if they can't run the ball, Tomlin has never had an offensive coordinator who does anything. This sounds familiar to Browns fans. It should. the offensive coordinator only does what the Neanderthal tells him to do. Our Neanderthal has an Ivy League education. Big fucking deal. Okay? But no matter what you have, and it doesn't matter if it's Joe Flacco, it doesn't matter if it's Deshaun Watson, it doesn't matter if it's little midget Gabriel, it doesn't matter if it's Shedeur. The only one who's able to get 8 yards per completion is Shedeur. And he doesn't even fully know what he's doing out there, to be very honest with you.
Yeah.
The ball he threw to Jerry Jeudy, and that was what and it's what started this whole thing as far as somebody angering me on social media. You want to pick out one play, and that was a dumb thing for him to do. It really was. You don't just throw the ball up in the air. But stop and think for a minute. He was open earlier. He just saw him late, and then by the time he got ready to throw, he was already almost, the guy was hitting him, and it just made the ball go way up in the air. But Jerry Jeudy didn't try to get that ball. Jerry Jeudy is a midget just like Dillon Gabriel is, like all of our wide receivers are. I would understand if you threw it up in the air to Cedric Tillman. At least he's 6'3", for Christ's sake. At least he might be able to go up and knock the ball down, and that isn't a pick. Jerry Jeudy don't even try. He just stands there and lets the other guy wrestle in front of him and take the ball and drop to the ground. That's the whole story of Jerry Jeudy's career in the NFL. And it bothered me that people want to pick out, and then the first interception, which was a tipped ball, they want to blame that on a quarterback after watching their hero, Joe Flacco, throw pick sixes in the biggest game of the season and to multiply throw interceptions at the least appropriate times. And he was a veteran of God knows how many years. What fans protect and what they don't protect is based on bias. And I understand that if you want Dillon Gabriel to be the quarterback, then, but we're all Browns fans, damn it. We should want our team to win. But
Correct.
Even when this team wins, they're still criticizing the quarterback. Damn.
I don't know.
Yeah. And thank you. I appreciate it. And I am actually bovine and human at the same time. And yeah, I saw that, Bronk. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's got family links to Nigeria, and he was in Nigeria, and his car hit the back of a truck and killed two of his, entourage or whatever you want.
He was not driving the vehicle.
I don't know what I didn't.
What I was told is he was a passenger in the car that hit the other car.
I think he's going to be all right. Like he's
They say that he was taken care of and for minor injuries, but he there was a lot more damage done there than what Jake Paul inflicted upon him. That's for damn sure. But yeah, I saw that, and that's too bad. And this becomes the other thing is the conspiracy theory element. The NFL wanted the Steelers to lose so they can showcase the Ravens versus Steelers on Sunday Night Football. Now, here's what I think. And that's just another way of discrediting the team that won. Now,
Correct,
isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it amounts to.
Yeah, the Browns were scripted to win that game, is what that's saying.
Right. And
I don't say they get scripted it because the Browns were heavy underdogs. Yeah.
All they had to do was call holding penalties like they did against us on every big play that we had from scrimmage. And that would have been the obvious way of knowing the game was being fixed that way. What I'll tell you is the graphic that they showed on the screen, really, because of the mood I was in, I was watching the 49ers and the Bears. Hell of a football game.
Yeah, that was a good game.
And when the game, was heading toward looking like it might be an overtime game, they went over the rules of overtime, and it's like, and they were saying in the fourth quarter, in the 2-minute warning, that no coaches are allowed to challenge anything under 2 minutes. You're aware of that?
Yeah, that's
Hello?
correct. There's
That-
no flags on.
Well, yeah, you can't challenge anything under 2
Everything's
minutes.
Can't
up there.
challenge. Can't challenge it. Now, if that doesn't tell you everything you want to know about the NFL, I mean, when the game matters the most in a close game and somebody makes a bozo call and you can't challenge it, I mean, you know that they are praying to the gods of gambling. It's an ugly business, and it's not a fair game for a lot of teams. They're going to get the short end of the stick. And do I think that game was fixed? I mean, look, they would have thrown a flag against Denzel Ward if it were fixed for Pittsburgh. And if it were fixed for Cleveland, they wouldn't have taken back 2 30, 40-yard plays that would have put the game out of reach. So who knows? Who knows what they want? In the end, they maybe got what they wanted because there was some great force that gambled a bunch of money and put it on the Browns. Hell, I even predicted the Browns would win.
But Moo, I think the Ravens can beat the Steelers with Huntley.
I believe they're favored. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everything for the Steelers is it just reminds me of when they didn't have a quarterback, right? And it was before Ben Roethlisberger, and you had Bubby all Brister. Of the Mark Malones and Bubby Bristers, and you had all that, and then you had the guy who they ran out of town, the African American quarterback. They said he was gay.
Randall L. or
not Cordell Stewart.
Cordell Stewart, yeah.
Cordell Stewart.
Yep. And it's not like that organization. It's just they had Roethlisberger for such a long time, and nobody wants to talk about the more recent failures, the Mason Rudolphs, or
Ducky guy.
Yeah, right. I mean, nobody wants to talk about that.
Didn't they call Roethlisberger the rapist burger?
Yeah, rapeless burger. Yeah, it's but again, it's obvious when a quarterback is too old to play. Aaron Rodgers is too old to successfully deliver. Roethlisberger, a lot of the people who worship at the temple of the Baker Mayfield Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a lot of those people like to point out that great 48-37 win in the playoffs, the first round of the playoffs.
Yep.
But hell, Roethlisberger was like a mummy. He was so he couldn't go down and get the fumble, the snap that went over his head. He couldn't go to the
taped up. Yeah,
yes. I mean, didn't even try.
Yeah.
So, you see it in Aaron Rodgers too. He's just going to dump the ball off so fast. And
he had so many lucky plays. I mean, that one sack that just popped into the air to 81.
His guy caught it, yeah.
And then he had so many like backward passes and passes that got stuffed for a loss. I mean, just all over his short passes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Raheem Sanders, a short yardage guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if he could be a poor man's Kareem Hunt if it needed to be. If we had an offensive line that would give him a little daylight, he can carry people for a few yards. And that, if you remember, Kareem Hunt, for all the talk about how great he was earlier on in his career, for the Cleveland Browns, he was a straight line runner who would get you the necessary yardage, and he was a tough guy.
Yeah, he'd take punishment. Yeah,
and you remember that he would dive over the pile at the line of scrimmage just to get a first down. He had great spring at the time left in his legs. But if they're in the backfield, Kareem Hunt's no good. Nobody's good if they're living in your backfield, and that's what
And let's remember that he had some horrendous personal issues too that all got pretty much swept under the rug, and he was able to continue with a career, whereas other people might not have been. Let's be honest about that.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
what he did was far worse than what Deshaun Watson did. But
well, I didn't even want to go there, but yeah,
no, I'm just
I would agree with it.
from
Yeah,
a legal perspective.
yeah.
I don't talk. Ethics. It's hard to talk ethics when people are being shot up, and to be able to play in situations where they're playing a game where they die 20 years young and are crippled
Yeah.
at early ages. It's really very difficult. You know, but I think that Raheem Sanders is a good bench guy off the bench to get you short yardage and tough yardage. And obviously they have some faith in him because Dylan Sampson wasn't getting all that much in the way of playing time until the second half of the game. And again, I don't fully understand the utilization of players because Kevin Stefanski has no idea what offense is. Uh, and this is absolutely true. People thinking that whatever their team loses, it's a fix.
Well, it's gamblers thinking that, really.
Yeah, and again, to be honest with you, it's the conspiracy theories that make me just want to scream, and it's people who actually seriously write on the timelines of social media that you know about the intelligence quotient of Shadur Sanders, and as if they're trying to say, well, he isn't the most fluent speaker. He doesn't have the best grammar in the world. Let's be honest about this. Shadur wasn't in college to get his diploma. I mean, look at how many others. I mean, do you really think that if LeBron James wasn't the best basketball player in the world, that he'd have a doctorate?
Probably not.
Do you think Michael Jordan would?
Absolutely not.
Would you
No.
think Larry Bird would?
Absolutely not.
No.
So
Patrick Ewing.
yeah, that's right. I mean, I don't understand. It's like I tell a guy to leave me alone, and the next thing you know, I'm the one who's being suspended off social media.
What's happened with that? Are you still kicked off, or you?
Yeah, and I'm not going back.
Well,
They can go fuck
fair.
off because I want to find other ways. Anyway, and the funny thing is that yesterday's program was just as well viewed without them.
Well, people can subscribe on YouTube and find you. I mean, if you're going to look for a podcast, you're going to look normally on YouTube, aren't you? I mean, that's where I would look.
Well, that's where
people would
views are
look.
coming from, absolutely. And I have the ability to broadcast out, like if I could broadcast out to Instagram or something like that. But to be honest with you, you can't archive anything on Instagram. It's just going to pop up live, and somebody's going to have to be there for the live show. It might boost the audience right now. Who I don't do a show at the most propitious moment at 5:00 in the evening, Eastern Coast time. It's not the best time. Where all the viewership happens is after that. Different, and I see it happening. The crunch of people from California later on and the East Coast people earlier on from the archive of the show. This may not be the first place that people go, but after, this is one of the places they go to get a certain type of program, So, but all of the conspiracy theories to me, it's just they're lies. Everything that you hear and that you read are lies.
Well,
Artificial
they're lies.
intelligence are lies.
I think they're more opinion. They're just people speculating, and whether they're honestly speculating or dishonestly speculating.
Yeah, it's motives.
Was what you need to figure out. So dishonest speculation is definitely lying, but when people are sincere and they're trying to come up with opinions, that's something different, and it's getting impossible to tell between the two. It's
Yeah.
just a fucking gray area. And
I mean,
social media, if it upsets you, you shouldn't be on it.
and that's really what it amounts to. I mean, the eventually when they feel like it, they will reinstate the my presence on there, and
Well,
the show will appear on there, but I'm not going on there to read anything anymore because it really is just
if
there
you're
to
not learning
agitate.
anything from it, then don't do it. You know.
No, I mean it's just a source of agitation, and again, sports fans, I understand the emotion of all this. This is recreation. If you're gambling on the games, you might be disappointed on a call here and a call there, or if you're just a rabid fan, like so many of us are, it hurts you. It ruins your Sunday when the Browns find a new way to lose.
Well,
That
it's
that
just
that sort of thing, I understand. But when it's the state of our day to day life, it's the state of our country, it's the state of how people view us overseas.
well,
When it comes to that, it's not just being upset once a week because your team loses. It's more a matter of I got to get away from this because this is it promotes negative thinking.
it really isn't just America. I mean, you guys are all in America except for me and Big Lurker and the odd people that come on here. But there's problems with social media in every fucking country in the world,
Oh
and
yeah,
there's
it's human
issues in
nature, isn't it?
Britain, and it's easily manipulated. And if you can like set up bots in Nigeria, and you can set up bots in Kazakhstan, and you can set up bots in Thailand that pump whatever point of view that you're trying to pump, um, you're gonna you're gonna be disruptive. And at some point there's a legality line that's crossed,
Right,
and those people aren't being punished. They've not been punished in America. They've not been punished in Britain.
right.
They've not been punished in any country that I'm aware of. There may be the odd country like, let's throw out Iceland or somebody, but no, I mean, people can get away with this because it's multinational corruption, and it's allowed to happen. And, you know, America has its problems, but it's not just you guys, it's
Yeah,
everyone.
and again, it's interesting that we could be an elite team if we would have built around past Browns quarterbacks or quarterback or whatever. I'll tell you this: uh, the the Deshaun Watson thing was a mistake from the get go. They put way too many resources into somebody who hadn't proven his pedigree, and
Right,
especially the other part of it was that you were not going to make or accommodate your offense to the way he played the game. So you were going to do it's just like Shadur. Shadur plays out of the shotgun 100% of the time at Colorado, right?
correct.
That was what he did. And so
Yeah.
now you want play action pass out of him. All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, he's got to learn that.
Yep.
And he
And
still hasn't learned that.
but
And Steven, you saw Deshaun Watson's career in Houston. I mean, that wasn't a body of work that was all that many years. If he had suddenly been permanently injured, his body of work in Houston would not have gotten him into the Hall of Fame by any means. Uh,
Ever
yeah,
ever since the allegations took place and Deshaun didn't want to play here anymore, I think he was done mentally with football.
I I would agree with you on that. I
I
think he's
think that he has or had talent, but there's no love of the game. And I think that he got paid a king's ransom, and he comes to Cleveland, and it's like, well, you're going to take snaps directly from center because that's Kevin Stefanski's offense, and we turned him into
Case
Dylan
Keenum.
Gabriel.
Yeah,
We didn't give him anyone to throw the ball to
yeah.
realistically. And again, the same aging defensive line, or excuse me, offensive
Offensive
line.
line, yeah.
And but we can go over this over and over again. There is no, there I wouldn't say, if I were to give a game ball to the Cleveland Browns, I would say that Schmidt would get a game ball because he's turned his season around and he looks smooth. Maybe it's because the games don't matter. It's hard to say.
His character, man, you're spot on. It was one of those things, that first loss that was everyone blamed him for against the Bengals. He's turned it around. He's not Chuck Knobloch this season, and I think he's going to be a decent kicker. Have a career. So,
yeah, well,
and we needed those field goals to win.
Cleveland is a tough place to kick in, and you could go ahead and ask the Steelers kicker who missed one from 54
Boswell or whatever his name is.
It's not easy to kick in Cleveland, and on top of it, when it's Bubba Ventrone's special teams who are, exactly. And we've seen so many try the Zane Gonzalez's. I mean, we can just name kicker after kicker after kicker. They're still bouncing around the league, but none of them have gotten a real tight grip on things. And part of the reason is it's very difficult. Can you imagine if you were a basketball player and you had to sit on the bench the whole game?
Yep.
Until
the shoot free
final 30 seconds of the game, you have to come in and you got to nail a jump shot from behind the 3-point arc.
Yeah, you got to hit a 3-pointer,
and you're going to be judged by the result of that every day of your life for the following day, week, month. It's a big psychological block for kickers, and I'm happy that Schmidt has he's proven in the past that he has the ability to kick. It's mechanics, and it's blocking out all the external stuff.
You know what? I mean, here's a comment that's just popped into my head for no good reason. Whatever happened to the Scottish Hammer? What I would like to see would be kickers and punters that could actually be position players, that were good enough athletes to be maybe a wide receiver, or a defensive back, or a linebacker, or something like that. I mean, if somebody ever developed a kicking skill and also could play a position at the NFL level, that would free up a fucking roster spot for teams, and that would be such a big deal. But it's never happened in my lifetime, not since Lou Groza played defense and kicked field goals in Cleveland. I can't remember anybody else. George Blanda was a quarterback. Imagine if some parent out there listening to this says, "Son, I know you're a good linebacker, but we're going to teach you how to kick a ball, and maybe you can make a team as
right."
It's just never happened.
Yeah, and I don't know. Is that true?
I have no idea.
What's his name? Gilliam? Was that his name?
Oh, I should know, but I don't. I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, he kicked a ball a long way, and I'm not sure if this guy's pulling my leg here. I'll tell you what. Go to depending on which one you're closest to, the Pacific or the Atlantic Ocean, and just take a big swig of the water out of the ocean.
Right.
All right.
Less than 2% of the water is drinkable.
Yeah, exactly.
So now Lamar Jackson's status is uncertain. Of course, we have that cliffhanger for the NFL. I mean, but the way they're describing Lamar Jackson's injury, what a weird injury. He got kneed in the back.
Oh, well, that's gotta hurt if he.
It didn't happen during a game. It happened in his bedroom. No,
he's having butt sex.
I'm kidding. Yeah.
We have to have an ass rape reference in there at some point.
There it is, Jamie Gillian. Yeah,
The Giants. There he is. Yeah.
Good
Good luck to
good
him. I
take
hope
there.
he's doing well.
But yeah, he got kneed in the back, and they're describing it as a very painful injury. He's slowly getting better, and he'll be out there. He will be out there, and the Steelers will be trying to injure him. And you know something? Cheer them both on. Let them blow each other up, because here's my reality as far as a Cleveland Browns fan. If we had in our division, if we had a team that would have been like the Kansas City Chiefs were for many years, and that's over with now,
Yeah.
or a team that's like the Buffalo Bills, or a team that you knew was going to be a double-digit win team every damn season.
Probably the best example.
I swear to God, I would feel so hopeless. But when you look at these teams, and they're not drafting great people. I mean, the fact that Derrick Henry is still their primary running back and he is injury prone, they haven't drafted any new guys at that position, and they're a run-first team. And so they got a quarterback who runs. They've crippled him. And Lamar Jackson's career is getting very close to being over. He's one hit away from being RG3'd, and I can see it happening.
Oh yeah, we all can.
But again, it's if we don't worry about a quarterback, to hell with that. There is no quarterback who can overcome what the Browns lack right now. But if we get as many draft picks as we can get, and we start fortifying, and we start pushing closer to a 500 record, what happens if we're not an automatic easy win for the Ravens every time we play them?
Fucked. Yeah,
or the Bengals? They're going to get, they're suddenly going to go from being, 9-8, 10-17
to 3-14.
Or maybe not that drastic, but I mean, they'll be down to 8 wins. They'll be 8-9 teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they went into the playoffs that one year. That's what you're looking at. And we're not that far away, folks.
I
8-9.
There's a model out there too. I mean, look at Jacksonville. I mean, it's not the greatest franchise in the world. The owner's a complete dickhead. He owns a football team here in London, but they got Trevor Lawrence, who has issues, but they've let him grow, and they built a team around him with draft picks that they can be anywhere from the 1st seed all the way to the 7th seed, depending on what happens this weekend. But that's the model that Cleveland needs to pursue. Jacksonville got loads of picks over the past few years, and then they built their team up around a quarterback that's average level, and they're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I'm just having fun now.
Well, that's lakes and rivers make a tiny percent of the water on Earth. It really is. You can Google it. It's a known fact.
And go ahead, find a lake in your neighborhood, find a river, and go ahead and stick your head in and drink it. Amen.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you want the truth? Ingest it. Ingest it. You'll know the truth. You'll answer your own question.
Yeah, like you go to Gulf of Mexico, go drink that water. It's salt water. Go have fun with that.
Yeah, and then you have Kevin Stefanski in his press conference when he's asked
any of that. What did he do? Did he do something stupid?
No, they keep asking him. So is this the swan song here? Are you going to be here next year? And he's like, I'm privileged to have this job. He's not going to tell you anything. I mean, I would imagine from the expression on his face in the previous losses, that he has been told that he's finished, but he can't come out and say anything or really do anything about it because
it doesn't help anybody.
No, it's not going to help him get another job. So
it doesn't help anyone if he says that he's done.
And there's nothing in this particular press conference that means anything. It's the same crap over and over again that he says. And it doesn't really matter because, he's got nothing on the injuries. We don't know about Fannin. We don't know about Wyatt Teller. We don't know about Wyatt Earp. We don't know about Kevin Costner or JFK.
No.
And then he was pumping up Schlesinger for playing hurt.
Oh,
yeah.
Could have really crippled the fucker. And he's like 23 years old or 22 or something.
Yeah.
No.
And some of us did definitely feel like that. I mean, the Cavaliers' struggles are real, and they're going to get smashed tonight against the Spurs.
I'm not even turning that game on.
It's going to be ugly. It's going to be really ugly. That'll take us to 500 and then below. But again, you got to use the talent that you have, and you got to know how to use it. And you have to have.
Be absolutely shocked if the Cavs win tonight.
They don't have a chance to win. They don't have a chance to win. And again, I'm watching the same games you're watching, and Jared Allen shouldn't even be playing. He can't handle the ball with his right hand. That finger hasn't healed. He's not even shooting with his right hand. He's dunking the ball, or he's flipping the ball up with his left hand. I don't get it.
Are we going to have Merrill go one-on-one with Wembyana on defense?
Yeah, right. I mean, the ball.
That's what we're going to see.
The ball has to hop from person, station to station very quickly for this team to work. The second Donovan Mitchell hunches down, holding onto the ball, looking to his right, looking to his left, it's over.
Yeah.
That possession is gone. And it's going to be a fast break going in the other direction for the other team. So, yes, Donovan Mitchell has a role in this badness, and people will exempt him because it's like, well, he feels like he has to do this himself. I don't remember seeing him in the playoffs at his previous team, and quite honestly, I think that he likes it that way. I think sharing the ball is the way the Cavaliers would have a chance to be a 500 team this year. Other than that, they're going to be a below 500 team. And the only thing that's going to keep them hovering even close is that there are some really bad teams in the league that they can beat. That's the conclusion.
Our backcourt is really horrific on defense. I know we got, Ball and Garland and Mitchell, but Mitchell doesn't get enough criticism for his defense. He only plays it when he feels like it. And we're just that Houston game, they were all taller than us, and we couldn't fucking guard any of them.
Now, here's the other thing about the last thing I'll talk about Stefanski. He says the press question was, "Hey, Kevin, I just wanted to ask you about Shedeur Sanders. And when you went back and watched the film, what were some of your biggest takeaways, especially some of the throws, like the one pick that back across the field and the throw to Nick Herbig that he nearly picked that would have been a pick six." So why don't we investigate the three throws that Shedeur did, so we can go ahead, whip our dicks and urinate on him, all right? But listen to the difference between the Kevin now and the Kevin then. He says, yeah, I think the big message for all players, and definitely at the quarterback position, is to learn from every single play. There are plays where you have to tip the cap to the defense and recognize, they're in the right coverage where they made a play. There's other times where you let it rip and you see the right coverage and you're playing on time. So there's just a lot to learn from. Obviously, the two giveaways. We can learn from both of those plays. They tipped the ball and got lucky on the first one. We can live to play another down on the second one. And again, just those are all plays where we have a young player that will learn and get better from those plays. That is not the same Kevin Stefanski that would have said, you turn the ball over twice, you can't win.
We got to be better than that.
We got to be better than this. This is the guy who knows that Shedeur is the starting quarterback. It wasn't his decision, and he's not going to rock the boat because he's not going to be around next year.
Yeah,
All right.
I think
He ain't
so.
going to be around,
Oh.
which is fine. Absolutely fine by me. If you're wondering when Max Strus is coming back, God only knows. If you're wondering, if you want to put it on a timeline, there's Max Strus and Jesus Christ. I would bet on Jesus Christ right now as opposed to Max Strus. He's been sidelined for 4 months now following off-season surgery, and they asked Kenny Atkinson, when is he coming back? And the answer was, the timeline is what it is. There's no earlier or later. He turned into the fucking Riddler?
Is he fucking Yoda or something?
What the hell? Make that stop, dear
Frank
God.
Gorshin.
Yeah, exactly.
Frank Gorshin. You look that one up, Steven. Frank Gorshin.
That's an old-time guy who was on the original Batman show, yeah.
1966.
The league has announced officially that on January the 4th, Sunday at 1 p.m., the Browns will be against the Bengals. It'll be on CBS. So,
are we going to get a Didi Kikawala and Ian Eagle and our favorite bottom tier announcers?
Well, I mean,
so. Battle of Ohio.
And everyone's going to be watching. And then when Myles Garrett doesn't get the record, everyone's going to say, they Brownsed again, and again, I'm going to distance myself because part of the reason I'm going to be off of X personally is because I can't stand what the fans are saying either. Quite honestly, they're just such whiny little bitches. I mean, take your medicine. The challenge here is to build a better team. That's the challenge for the Cavaliers. It's the challenge for the Browns, for every team in the league. And you don't think that the Cincinnati Bengal fans are scratching their heads saying, what happened? What happened? We have Joe Burrow, and he was like, the white guy with the 10-inch dick. He had the swag, and what happened? All of a sudden, it's like, we can't keep him healthy on the field. And he's like,
again, if his career finishes, he ain't going to the Hall of Fame right now either.
Oh, hell no. And it's good. But he's like, if I'm not happy doing this, that doesn't make teams fans very happy that their quarterback feels that way. But nobody likes to lose. But the fact is that when you're playing for a losing organization, that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to lose.
Well, the Brown family, they're awful. Zach Taylor. I mean, every coach, with the possible exception of Harbaugh in the AFC North, should be fired.
Yeah, well, I mean,
every coach, every single one of them.
Yeah, it's right now they need to rebuild. Teams need to rebuild. Last two stories here before I get out of here. USC coach Lincoln Riley has stated that Notre Dame failed to follow through on its pledge to play the Trojans anytime, anywhere, in rapidly rejecting his school's proposal to continue the historic series in 2026 and 2027. Riley, speaking Monday to reporters in San Antonio ahead of the team's appearance in the Valero Alamo Bowl, placed the blame for the halt to the rivalry right at Notre Dame's feet. The fourth-year Trojans coach said the school spent months trying to find a way to continue the series, which began in 1926, has been played 96 times. Riley said athletic director Jen Cohen reached out with a proposal earlier this month that Notre Dame immediately rejected. We took Notre Dame at their word that they would play us anytime and anywhere. Wow. That proposal was rejected. Not only was it rejected, 5 minutes after we got the call, it was announced that they had scheduled BYU. Now, if you want to know the truth about all of this, and this is a hard truth to have to face if you're a sports fan. This is not about just winning. this is about cheating to win. This is about playing weak competition intentionally to win. It's to make sure that your team is one of the top 12 or 10 or whatever teams in the country, and to play the easiest schedule you can. It is self-glorification. It isn't like the old days when teams were good and then other teams would become good, and then the good teams would lose to those teams and they'd have to rebuild their program. Now it's you do anything you can through the portal that you can possibly do. The players are going to get out of their teams. I saw where a guy, I forget what school it was. It may have been Vanderbilt or one of the schools that had, no, it wasn't Vandy. It was one of the other schools that had their first CFB season as far as postseason game, and it was a smallish school. And the first thing their quarterback did before their big game, their playoff game, was to say, "That's it. I'm through. I'm going into the portal."
I think you need to use the Jerry Springer voice for this part of the program here.
I'm being serious about this because it's really unfortunate that, again, we talk about the draft, the NFL draft, and it's like we draft lousy players in Cleveland and we end up with lousy teams. But when you're recruiting and the college athlete now says, well, hell, I want to play for one of those 12 teams, and just think of the NIL I'm going to get, and think of this. I mean, there's a bunch, and I look through my programming on my television, and I look at all the streams that are on there. And do you know how many football games are being played by the Furman colleges? Liberty College or Savannah State or
Slippery Rock.
Yeah, and they're on television. They're being televised, and nobody's watching. Who cares? It's no different than like intramural sports now. There's no reason.
I think the NFL should take over, under 21 football from the universities. I've said that before. I could go into my 20-minute rant about that, but it's getting to the point where the universities should just be for academics, and they shouldn't have paid football players. And if you want to go to a university for academics and also play football, well, you can still do that, but you're not going to get paid. You're not going to get a full scholarship. But that'll never happen unless there's a change of political will, and country isn't going to ever grow that way. So you're more likely to have a national health service before you see something like that.
Thank you. It's not prayers for me. It's prayers for my wife's family. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That you didn't listen to the beginning of the program.
No, I was.
So I'll tell you after the end of the show what the whole story was. And this again, you see, Notre Dame's nothing compared to my Auburn Tigers. It's like, I really don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about either of those schools. I don't give a shit if their campus is burned down. I don't care. I mean, I want, what I used to love the NCAA basketball tournament, the Big 64, and then I guess they moved it up to what, 67 or 68 68 teams. Yeah, but I mean, God, when I was at Miami of Ohio and we beat the defending national champions Marquette back in '78.
Al McGuire, I think.
That was
then?
No. It was the year after Al McGuire left, and I forget the name of the guy who took over the program, but they were supposed to destroy Miami of Ohio, and we beat them in Indianapolis. And the reason I vividly remembered, I was doing the color commentary for radio, and it was a very exciting thing. And ever since then, if we were talking about what was the school that Drew was his name Larry Drew, the head coach, and his son played for the team somewhere in Indiana.
Evansville, or
it may have been. I mean, it was a school that was, you don't even remember now, but it was great when schools like that would make a run.
Butler. There was Butler, and
Butler was one, and Cleveland State was one. Yeah. And it was like we didn't know that there was drug trafficking going on, but it was exciting.
To say that, and I wasn't going to spoil it.
Oh, Valpo. Yeah, I guess that was Valpo, wasn't it? And what I mean, those are the things that I love. It's
oh baby,
yeah. To me, the upset is what makes sports interesting, because if the favorite always won, it wouldn't be that exciting. But I guess I pissed my buddy off here.
Yeah, well,
that's the beauty of getting older. You don't have as many memories.
It's a free country. You don't have to listen to us, man.
No, it's just the whole SEC Big Ten thing. I could care less. I could care less. Yeah. And I loved that Indiana beat Ohio State. I loved it.
They hadn't done it for about 40 years.
And you know something? It's not because I have any dislike for Ohio State, but those kids who were on that field, that's something they're going to talk about for the rest of their lives. They're going to share that with their children and their children's children. That's going to be something that will be remembered. That's like Hoosiers, the movie, Milan High School in Indiana. That's something that they will never forget. And that's why that's important to me. And it's not that I care about Valpo or Cleveland State. It's great if every year there's a smaller school. I remember when Florida Gulf Coast. You remember that?
Oh yeah, those crazy guys. That was all an illegal operation.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I forget the whole story to that, but it was so corrupt as hell.
It was a commuter school that suddenly had great basketball players. Wait, I got something in my eye.
Isn't there a made-up high school that a few years ago where it was actually, there wasn't even a school building, but they went around and played all these like high school basketball teams and beat their ass?
Yeah.
What was that? Somebody can remember that in the chat. About 8 years ago. Yeah.
But there's a lot of talent, and I like to see that talent establish itself, and it shouldn't be just big schools that enjoy that.
What we both really rail about is just the level of corruption that's in everything, and if we just get calmed down a bit, if we just got something honest to watch and listen to,
Do you think, when you think college basketball, do you think of Baylor University?
Not really, but they normally are pretty good.
Yeah. Well, Baylor coach Scott Drew addressed criticism of his signing recently of a former NBA draft pick, James Nagy, saying Sunday that he's merely adapting to the current climate of college basketball in order to put the Baylor Bears in position to be successful. Nagy was the 31st overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft. Never played an NBA game after being selected by the Pistons.
This guy.
Yeah, having his rights traded to Charlotte and later to the Knicks. He had been in FC Barcelona since 2020, spending time on loan at 2 different clubs while also making 51 EuroLeague appearances for Barcelona. This guy shouldn't be playing college basketball.
Pro basketball. If he's playing for FC Barcelona, he's a pro player.
But not good enough to make it to the step that he wants to make it. So, he can get into a college and make some NIL. And the coach is ready to do it, because what the hell does he have to look forward to at Baylor?
Yeah.
But everybody is just trying to play and milk the system for what they can.
Because there's no accountability. There's no punishment. Nobody gets punished for anything.
And this is the wisest thing that you've said, Alive Tree. In the end, It's just a football game. It's all it is sports. It's one game.
For
I'm,
real.
I'm glad the Browns beat the Steelers. It's one game. They may come back and give up 42 points like the Bengals' last opponent did and lose miserably, but it's just a game. And again, if you weren't watching from the beginning of the show, please do, and you'll understand that this is just a game. This isn't life. All right.
But sports do bring us together, though.
Huh?
Sports ultimately brings people together.
And today, unfortunately, it tears them apart.
Yeah, it's meant to bring them together, like the Olympics and all this shit. But
somehow it gets
World
polluted.
World Cups, Olympics they're meant to bring people together. Now it's all corrupt and tainted.
And
it's hard to enjoy anything.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Moose. Hang around here for a sec, Moose, after the program. And thank you, Alive Tree, and everybody in the chat room for kind words and for voicing your opinions. That's what the program here is for. And I will comment on people making comments, whether I agree or disagree. But don't really drink the water from a still body of water that you know nothing about. I can tell you what they call lakes or ponds here in Florida are scum areas that are bacteria-laden water. And, be safe.
You might as well drink from a septic tank if you're going to do that.
Yeah, and the last comment will be from Adam. The punter should have got a game ball for the first time. Notice he was kicking 60 yards
freely. He was freely kicking the ball. He wasn't short-legging anything.
Yeah, I think that in the end, when Stefanski's leaving, when he starts kicking the ball 60 yards again, he's getting life in his leg again. Take care, everybody, and have yourself a good evening. I'll be back again on Friday with the next installment of Moohead Radio. Until then,
people.
Hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.